Time travel is, frankly, quite confusing, and nothing shows that more than Portal Reloaded. Portal Reloaded is a free mod for Portal 2 released back in April of 2021. It's said overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and upon release was instantly loved by the wider Portal community. It exists to answer the question, what would happen if you could shoot a third portal to travel through time? Now, do I think that question ever needed to be asked? No, not one bit. However, I am very glad it did. This mod is one of my favorite mods of all time for a video game, and it has some of the best puzzle design I have seen in recent times. And I think to prove that, we need to start at the beginning. Like the original two Portal games, this mod begins by immediately introducing you to the core feature of the game, time portals. They are very interesting and work differently to how you usually expect portals to work in the Portal franchise. See, rather than connecting two spots in space, it connects the same spot in space with a spot 20 years in the future. That's it. That's the fundamental, basic idea of this portal. However, this immediately begins messing with your mind. See, when walking through a portal, due to the orientation of the other portal being exactly what you walked through, it feels like walking through a mirror that isn't mirrored. And it certainly takes a second to get used to. Not only that, the distinction between past and future is a very important one that you cannot forget. But, because the past is clean and the future is overgrown, sometimes, at least to me, they felt switched, further confusing you. But, if you manage to push through all of that, you make it to another fundamental question. How does a cube in the past and future work? Well, quite interestingly. See, you cannot bring a past cube into the future, it immediately fizzles out. However, you can bring a future cube into the past, creating a second cube that you can move freely. But that future cube has to come from the exact spot in the past, meaning that if you move the past cube, the future cube then blips out of existence in either time, and reappears in the exact same spot as the past cube, just in the future. This alone makes for some very interesting puzzles, such as this one, where you have to put the past cube near this racing platform. That way, when you put the future cube on the button to pull the platform down, you can just grab the past cube, changing its destiny, and blipping the future cube off the button. The puzzles would grow stale if that was it, however. I think it's time we talk about the tripportal device. It's the portal gun you all know and love, with the addition of two green racing stripes. And also the ability to shoot time portals, which is probably important about the game about time travel. Just like the cubes, though, how do portals work across time? See, there are the easy logical ways, like one set stretched between both timelines, two sets, one for each, but no. See, the developer decided on probably the craziest but most interesting version. Following how changing the destiny of a cube in the past blips the future cube, placing portals in the past puts them in the exact same spot in the future. However, you can then go into the future and move the portals without affecting the past. But if you then move the past portals, they overwrite the moved future ones. It's another incredible tool in the arsenal for this time travel game, and also sometimes decently confusing, especially when combined with my earlier point about how I had trouble sometimes mixing up the past and the future. Eventually, you get unrestricted and can place your own time portals in most areas, and that's where the game begins and really stops holding your hand. The main difficulty spike of the game doesn't come from dealing with two portals like in the normal game, but rather with dealing with the permutations of how portals affect things now. See, think about it this way. In the base game, you have to think of three options. Place the blue portal here, place the orange portal here, or don't place a portal at all. However, in this game, you have to think about 8. Do I place a blue portal here? Do I place an orange portal here? Do I place the time portal here? Do I not place a portal? Do I move the blue portal in the future? Do I move the orange portal in the future? Do I overwrite the blue portal from the past? Do I overwrite the orange portal from the past? Then combine all of those, which each of the original mechanics of Portal 2 as well, as the new cube traveling through time functionality, and you get the most insane and complex game. It is not easy by a long shot. This game is a total of 25 levels in single player, and they took me roughly 4 hours to beat, which is average to 9.6 minutes per level, and is 1.5 hours shorter than the average. Uh, okay, well, that brief flex aside, it is still a difficult game that can truly leave you scratching your head and having to think in terms of both past and future. Then again, sometimes the answer is on a sign in front of you. that you completely ignore. I am not an expert in puzzle design by any means. However, I have done my homework before writing this video, and I believe that this game has excellent puzzle design. Good puzzles are made with 3 steps: the assumption, the catch, and the revelation. Harder puzzles usually involve having less solutions, more steps, more options, and more mechanics that need to be known. And this mod does an amazing job attempting to keep a good difficulty curve. Mechanics are introduced over time, and usually new mechanics have less options at first to compensate. However, since you are assumed to have played Portal 2 before the mod, it doesn't hold your hand teaching you the mechanics from the original game, but rather how they interact in different timelines. For example, you are eventually introduced to the laser. It works the same as in Portal, but you realize that it is not necessarily active in both the past and the future. This mechanic is then continued with the hard light bridge and the vacuum tubes, or whatever these things are. I think the best level to show these 3 principles of good puzzles is Test Chamber 20. You start off by seeing that there is 2 platforms connected to the laser in the sky and the button on the ground. You eventually realize that you need to use the hard light bridge with both the past and the future cube to do the buttons. The assumption you're likely to come to is that you need to use the future cube at the bottom to hold the elevator in place, while using the past cube in the sky to bring down the other one. Then by dropping the sky cube, it makes the past cube disappear and therefore start raising the platform to bring you up. But here's the catch. By dropping the past cube down onto the button, you get stuck in the middle position. This forces you to have to think outside of the box and figure out a new solution to the puzzle. Eventually, you realize that it's actually the future cube that needs to block the laser and then fall onto the button below, rather than having both be triggered at once. You can then change the destiny of the past cube by keeping it on the hard light bridge during the original portion, and then removing the bridge, therefore making the future cube disappear off the button and raising the platform back up, allowing you to complete the puzzle. This sort of level design is almost everywhere in the game. There is a couple of times where the puzzles aren't great. For example, there's a level where there are these fields that make it where you walk through the orange side, you can no longer place time portals, but if you walk through the green, you can. And the solution I found required me to basically walk into the ending doorway and turn around, getting access back. It's weird and not really a well-communicated solution. I believe a room with a very clear you can walk through either side of this without having to walk back would have been better, since it would have clearly communicated to the player that they need the time portal access back, and this is how to get it. Alright, hey, this is editing arc here. I realized that perhaps my point about, not being able to get the time portal back was stupid, because what it actually ends up being is all you need to do is walk in, have a portal on the outside, put a portal on the outside, walk in to get your stuff back, put a portal on the inside, walk through, and you've got the time portal. So, yeah. Sometimes the revelation isn't necessarily there either. Due to a lack of communication, sometimes the solutions seem more stumbled upon by making random guesses rather than figuring out exactly what the intended solution is. However, at the end of the day, the new fundamental mechanic introduced in this mod is an amazing puzzle-solving mechanic that truly allowed for innovation off of the already incredible game that Portal is. In terms of timing, there are occasional tricks that were a little difficult to pull off, but I believe this is an amazing game for anyone that loved the Portal franchise and wants to play a harder set of levels that expand on the original mechanics. There is one thing I cannot let go, though. One thing that since I first saw it has ate at my mind. I can suspend disbelief a little bit about how time travel works with changing the destinies and whatnot. That I will allow. It's the magic of the world, sure. However, if there is so much talk about destinies of cubes and portals between the past and the future, then what is this? Are you telling me that the intertwined destiny with the original cube I disintegrated then became intertwined with this brand new one? Okay, then what happens if I move the cube? Is the new cube that blips into existence the original one I destroyed again, or the second cube that came from the sky? Have I destroyed matter? Have I duplicated matter? Don't tell me about violating the laws of causality by moving the past cube into the future if I destroy a cube and it gets relinked to a brand new one. Do my actions have no consequence? Gah! Whatever. I need to chill out. It's not that deep. After all, it is a mod that only took me 4 hours to beat. Oh. What's this? Hightail's out! Hey, thanks for watching. This video might not have the best audio quality. Turns out I got sick, and so that's been a mess. But next video is going to be exploring Hightail, its modding tools, its current state, and where I see the future of the game going. My goal for this year is 147 subscribers, so if you feel like you're interested in hearing me talk about random topics every week that interest me, follow along. Thanks for watching.